Hey guys, really excited about this review today on FreeTaxUSA. I've actually been using this service for really my own personal taxes for several years now. So I have a really nice handle really on this platform or product, whatever you want to call it. Now specifically today, I'll be taking a look at who FreeTaxUSA really is as a business, who this tax service is absolutely best for. I'll take a look at some of the key features of the product, the cost of it, obviously you want to know that, the pros and cons, and then I'm going to finish out with my final take on FreeTaxUSA as a whole. So FreeTaxUSA, the name says it's free, but is it actually? Don't go anywhere, we got a lot to cover. Hey again, if you're new here, I'm Sean, and here at The Modest Wallet, we try to do our best to make money simple. Now, as I already mentioned today, we are going to be diving into FreeTaxUSA to see if it is a product that maybe you might be interested in utilizing for tax time. And at the time of recording this video, now is the time to start to really do that because you're down to about a month. So what is FreeTaxUSA? FreeTaxUSA is income tax filing software to help you complete your state and your federal taxes. And they were actually founded in 2001, and they are an original member of the IRS Free File Alliance, and they are an authorized IRS e-file provider. Next thing I want to get into is who is this tax service provider best for? This tax filing service is best for people looking for straight to the point tax filing service, as it's very easy to maneuver throughout their site. It breaks everything that you do down so that if you are lost, like many people are when it comes to taxes, you can figure it out and be really walked through the process. Now, it's also best for people who are budget conscious because while it may not be completely free when it comes to your federal taxes and state taxes, it is very reasonably priced, but I'm gonna get into that shortly. Let's go ahead and take a look inside the software now and see how it works. Just take a look at some of the notable features. When you first log in, you'll be immediately asked to give some of your personal information to get signed up. You know, sort of the standard questions, then to really determine, your identity, your filing status and dependents, and then you can get off and running on starting to file your taxes. One thing I'm going to mention is that I do really appreciate the organization on the main page. They very visibly break it down into personal information that I just mentioned, the income section, a deductions and credits section, a miscellaneous section, a summary area, and finally state, where obviously the state filing process clearly starts. When completing the income portion, I tested out the option to be able to upload your W-2, and the software was supposed to input most of your information without you having to enter it manually. Now, I will say it was a nice thought, but the beta version, so I'm pretty sure this is a new feature, did not work very well. Luckily though, the numbers drew red flags for an audit, so I was able to quickly fix the mistakes the software had created. And speaking of that, anytime numbers didn't make sense, FreeTaxUSA would sort of ask me more questions to clarify that I meant to input the numbers that were actually there. So if you do want to use that part of the service, which I think needs a little work, that you definitely want to always check the work that the AI or whatever they use in order to input those numbers without you having to do it other than upload the documents. You definitely want to make sure you're checking them to make sure that it's correct. And as we continue to look at income, you can see common income, business income, uncommon income, and finally cryptocurrency. I think that breakdown really simplifies the process because you can easily search for the correct areas to fill out based on the forms you have to input into the software. Then when you get to your deductions, you can see the massive list of deductions. I'm not going to go through each one, but wanted you to see the breakdown of all the deductions that you might be possibly bringing to the table. The miscellaneous section is for a variety of reasons. Most scenarios though would rarely happen, but by chance, you've got an offshore bank account or something of this area that this area is going to be able to help you make sure you account for those things. The things that aren't necessarily in the income or the expenditures, as the name suggests, it's miscellaneous. So just those things that maybe are a little more rare cases when you're filing your income taxes. And then the summary section is an area that I really appreciated because it gives you a last check before submitting to make sure you didn't forget a category or an income or, even a deduction. I also like that it shows the previous year's numbers alongside so that you can compare and really make sure there weren't any major discrepancies. When it comes to the state drop-down section, most of your information is already there or input, but you may have some documents specifically for your state, so they would be input here. I know there are some states without income tax, so this would be an area you'd just dismiss. The final steps part of the site is where it all comes together, how you're going to pay or receive your state and federal refunds, and how you will pay for the fees on the platform. I'm going to actually talk about a few more features while getting into pricing or cost of using FreeTaxUSA. Your federal tax return is, as the site states, completely free. Where you run into some costs are some additional features, and of course, your state tax return costs just $14.99. Definitely not expensive to be able to take care of that for you. Then there are two additional options. First is the deluxe package, which I do pay for when I do my own tax returns. And what that does is that it gives you priority on support, live chat, and unlimited amended returns and audit protection. I know that anything can happen, like forms being sent late to me or whatever might happen, so that extra protection is worth the price of an additional $7.99. And if you really want added protection, you can also get the Pro Support. Pro Support costs $39.99, and it comes with what I mentioned for the priority support, plus it gives you more personal tax advice, access to a tax pro, phone support, and live screen share. So you'd be able to share what's going on, what your issue is live with somebody, and they could really help you. So that might be worth it to some people for that extra $39.99. Additionally, there is something called audit support, which is $19.99, but I personally do not think that is worth it because there are already many checks in place through the filing process, and I can use the support from the deluxe version for that. The audit support is designed if you are concerned about the IRS, maybe coming back with questions about your tax return. But if that's not a major concern, then I wouldn't suggest doing that. Let me now get into a few pros and cons of the software. First, FreeTaxUSA is very budget friendly if you stick with the bare minimum and do not do any of their add-ons. You can get away with free federal tax returns and only $14.99 for state returns. Second, customer service is very good. You do have to pay extra for live, but my questions that were emailed were responded to within a short period of time. And then third, I feel that they are very easy service to use. Income expenditures and filling out miscellaneous information is something that the software walks you through and oftentimes asks questions to you as you go to make sure you are entering the correct information. So a lot of really good things about this service, but let's talk about a couple cons that we noticed. FreeTaxUSA is definitely limited on their PDF or document import. They do have a beta version to be able to upload, but it did not work very well, so you are stuck plugging in a lot of extra numbers compared to some other platforms. Second, even though it says FreeTaxUSA, you do pay $14.99 for state returns, which still is actually pretty cheap for the ease the service brings. So all in all, FreeTaxUSA, in my opinion, is a great budget-friendly tax service to really help you get your taxes completed online. If you have a ton of forms to input, maybe FreeTaxUSA isn't for you, as their W-2 and other forms that can sometimes be imported with other software is lacking, as the beta version of what they have did not really work very well, but I'm assuming that is something that will be much better next tax year. Overall, I highly recommend FreeTaxUSA, as I have said. I have used the software for the past several years with absolutely no issues. Let me know in the comments below your tax experience with FreeTaxUSA. I hope you found this review helpful as you get those taxes completed for the 2023 this year, 2024 maybe you're watching for the following year. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.